My girlfriend said, "You're being too clingy and needy," when I asked to spend time together during my family emergency. I replied, "You're right, I'll give you space." Then I gave her all the space she needed. Permanently. "I didn't mean it like that." Text came too late. I, 29, male, am an architect living in Chicago, and until very recently, I thought I had my life completely figured out. I had a career I worked hard for, a condo in a nice part of the city, and a girlfriend, Vanessa, who I was planning to propose to before the end of the year. Vanessa worked in marketing, and on the surface, she was everything I thought I wanted: ambitious, put together, and driven. I paid the mortgage, the utilities, and financed most of our lifestyle, while she saved her income for our future. Or at least, that's what she told me. But looking back, I realized I was just an accessory to her life, a wallet with a pulse. The reality check hit me on a Tuesday night around 11:30 p.m. I was dead asleep when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was my mom. Moms don't call that late unless something is terribly wrong. I picked up, heart pounding, and heard her sobbing. My dad had suffered a massive stroke. He was in the ambulance, and it didn't look good. I didn't ask questions. I just moved. I threw on jeans and a hoodie, my hands shaking so bad I could barely zip my bag. Vanessa was asleep next to me. I shook her shoulder gently to wake her up. I told her what happened, that my dad might die tonight, and I needed to drive to Ohio immediately. I asked her to come with me. I was terrified. My head was spinning, and I didn't want to make that 5-hour drive alone in the dark with my mind racing. She groaned, rolled over, and pulled the duvet over her head. She literally said, "Babe, it's the middle of the night. I have a presentation on Thursday. I can't just leave." I pleaded with her. I told her it was life or death. I needed support. She sat up, looked at the clock, and then looked at me with pure annoyance. She told me I was panic spiraling and being dramatic. Then she dropped a line that has been replaying in my head ever since. "You're being too clingy and needy. Every time there's a bump in the road, you need me to hold your hand. Go be with your family. I need my space right now." I stared at her, the woman I was going to marry. My dad was dying, and she was worried about her sleep schedule. I didn't yell. I just felt something inside me shut off. I told her she was right, grabbed my keys, and walked out. I drove to Ohio alone. I arrived at the hospital at 5 a.m. My dad held on for 2 more hours. I held his hand while the monitors flatlined at 7:14 a.m. on Wednesday. I watched my mother shatter. I had to be the strong one, signing papers, calling relatives, arranging the funeral. For 3 days, I didn't sleep. And for 3 days, I didn't hear a single word from Vanessa. No, is he okay? No, I'm sorry. Nothing. She wanted space, so I gave it to her. By Friday, I was sitting at my parents' kitchen table, staring at a pile of funeral paperwork, when my phone buzzed. It was a notification from my banking app. Authorization alert. $450 at Luna Spa and Resort. I frowned and checked the account. It was a joint credit card I had added her to for emergencies and groceries. There were more charges. $120 at a steakhouse. $85 at a liquor store. She wasn't just giving me space. She was living it up while I was burying my father. I texted her then, telling her my dad had passed and the funeral was Sunday. She replied 3 hours later saying she couldn't make it because she made plans with the girls since I was gone and told me not to let this derail my career. I returned to Chicago the following Monday without telling her. I parked down the street and walked up to my building, wanting to just crash. When I walked in, the place was a wreck. Wine bottles, takeout boxes, trash everywhere. Vanessa was at work. I went into the bedroom to pack a bag because I refused to sleep there, and I noticed my wall safe was slightly ajar. I keep my passport deed and emergency cash in there. The code is my birthday. She knew it. I checked inside, and the $2,000 cash I kept for emergencies was gone. My blood was boiling. But then I saw her old iPad sitting on the nightstand. She usually kept it synced with her phone. I opened it. No passcode. I clicked on messages and saw a thread with Mark, sales. Mark was a guy from her office. She always told me was gross and annoying. The timestamp from the night I left, 15 minutes after I walked out the door, read, Vanessa, he's gone. His dad is dying or something. He was being such a baby about it, begging me to go. Mark, seriously? Perfect timing, though. Vanessa, I know. I told him he was being clingy, so he'd feel guilty and leave me alone. He's out of town for at least a week. Mark, so drinks. Vanessa, come over. Bring wine. I'll put on his card. He's too distracted to check. I scrolled down. Thursday. Vanessa, ugh, he texted that the dad died. He's going to be insufferable when he gets back. Moping around. Mark, just dump him. Vanessa, I can't yet. He's about to inherit, right? Architects make okay money, but insurance payouts are better. I need to secure the ring first. Then we can figure it out. She hadn't just cheated. She was strategically using me. She mocked my father's death. She stole my cash. She was planning to marry me for a payout. She assumed I was getting. My dad was a school teacher. There were no millions. Just a modest pension for my mom. I took photos of the apartment. I screenshotted every text on the iPad and emailed them to myself. Then I left. I went straight to a friend of mine, Dave, who is a property lawyer. I laid it all out. The theft, the texts, the entitlement. Dave told me that since she had lived there for a while, she had tenant rights, meaning I had to serve her a 30-day notice. But the theft and the fraud, that gave us leverage. I canceled the credit cards immediately and froze her access to everything. Then I checked into a hotel. That evening, my phone blew up. She was texting me asking why the car was declined at the grocery store and calling me Punish Y for cutting her off. She demanded I come home. I didn't reply. The next day, Tuesday, I was at my office trying to catch up on work when the receptionist buzzed me. Vanessa was there. She stormed into my office, looking impeccable with a new blowout and a designer bag I'm sure my cash paid for. She closed the door and started lecturing me about how I was checking out of our relationship and how she needed the card active for a birthday party venue deposit. I looked at her and calmly said, You told me I was clingy for asking you to come to my dying father's bedside. You stayed here and slept with Mark. She froze. Then she got angry. She accused me of snooping and invading her privacy. She admitted to using the cash for us, claiming she bought things for the apartment. She justified sleeping with Mark by saying I abandoned her to go to Ohio, and she was lonely. Then she had the audacity to say, I live there. You can't kick me out. I know my rights. And my car needs new tires. You promised you'd pay for them. She walked out thinking she had won because of tenant laws. She thought I was too soft to do anything. But that afternoon, I got a Google alert for my name. Helped my last name, family recover from tragedy. GoFundMe. I clicked the link. It was a campaign organized by Vanessa. She used a photo of me and my dad. The text said my partner, me, was too proud to ask for help with astronomical medical bills and funeral costs. So she was doing it for me. The goal was $20,000. She had already raised $4,200 from my friends, cousins, and clients. I checked the beneficiary info. It wasn't linked to my account. It was linked to her personal checking account. She was using my dead father to scam my family and friends. This wasn't just entitlement. It was wire fraud and theft by deception. I called Dave immediately. He told me to wait one day. We needed proof she withdrew the funds to her account to complete the crime. We prepared the paperwork. Wednesday evening, I texted her saying she was right and we needed talk. I went to the apartment at 7 p.m. I brought a process server named Mike, a retired cop who waited in the hall. Vanessa was on the couch drinking wine. She told me she was willing to forgive my snooping if I promised to be more fun, because I was too serious lately. I asked her about the GoFundMe. She admitted she set it up and had already transferred the $4,500 raised to her account to pay off the credit card bills she ran up. She said it was compensation for her emotional labor dealing with me that week. That was the moment I signaled Mike. He walked in, and handed her a thick envelope, a 30-day notice to quit. But that wasn't the heavy hitter. I tossed the file folder onto the coffee table. It contained the printouts of the GoFundMe page, her bank transfer record, and the text messages admitting to the cash theft. I told her, I spoke to the police an hour ago. They are very interested in the wire fraud. Using a telecommunications device to defraud people across state lines? That's federal, Vanessa. And since you targeted my family in Ohio, it definitely crosses state lines. Her face went pale. She started screaming that I couldn't do this, that she was just trying to help. I told her she mocked my father's death and stole from my grieving mother. Then I dropped the second bomb. I told her I called Mark's wife. Vanessa's jaw dropped. She didn't know Mark was married. I told her Mark's wife, Jessica, is pregnant and was very interested to see the screenshots of why her husband was at a conference last week. Vanessa lunged at me, screaming that I ruined her life. Mike stepped in and warned her that was assault. I told her she had 24 hours to get her essentials and get out, or the police would be back to arrest her for the theft immediately. I waited in the car outside. 10 minutes later, Mark's car screeched up. He ran inside. Minutes later, he ran back out with Vanessa screaming at him. Apparently, his wife had kicked him out and he was blaming Vanessa. It was chaos. The aftermath was swift. Vanessa tried to fight the eviction, but the fraud charges took precedence. Because I reported the GoFundMe immediately, the police had an easy case. She was charged with theft by deception. It was a felony. A felony conviction meant her marketing career was dead in the water. No firm trusts a thief. She sent me texts for weeks. I didn't mean it. I'll pay you back. You're destroying a family. I never replied. I sold the apartment because it felt tainted. I made a profit and moved to a loft with no memories of her. Vanessa is currently working retail and living with her parents. Mark was fired for using company time for his affair and is going through a nasty divorce. It's been 3 months. Sometimes I still hear her voice calling me Clingy for wanting support while my dad died. It hurts. But then I realize that comment saved me. If she hadn't shown her true colors that night, I might have married her. I might have spent my life with a woman who viewed my grief as an inconvenience and my bank account as her property. She wanted space, so I gave her all the space in the world, permanently.